Hey there, gardeners. You are watching Country Garden Girl, and I'm Bobby. It's a beautiful morning here, and the steers are out grazing. It's the first week of July 2021, and I've been wanting to bring you on a garden tour of my enclosed garden for some time now, and I just have not been able to get to it. But sometimes, you just got to do it. So let's just do this thing. All right, this first thing you're seeing here is my garden gate, and it's one of my favorite things in the garden. It's old and kind of warped, but I love it. One of my favorite things. So let's go on in. I love that sound. Well, welcome to the garden. This is an old hog trough that we used here on the farm, and I try to do a lot of succession planting. Now I have vegetables and flowers in this garden, but this is just a trough full of zinnias and some sunflowers, and they're coming on, and you'll see the different stages of growth of things throughout the garden. And then we have our drip system that my husband and I installed. It's very raw, as you can see. I wanted to leave all of the drip line exposed so that I could see where everything was, so that I wouldn't, like cut through it with my shovel or something like that. And I watched Laura with Garden Answer on when she did her raised bed irrigation, and I copied everything she did. I wrote down all the pieces, all the parts, and I ordered them, and then we did the same. So this is just a faux porch here that my husband and son-in-law built for me, and all of the lumber and all of the things used on the little porch are from the farm here. And I also wanted to say, don't be discouraged if you don't have resources for things like this. You can find things at salvage places, and old wood, and just stuff like that. If you like this style, if this is your style of garden decorating, then you can find these things. So don't be discouraged if you don't have them readily available for you. You can do it too. And this next bed here is a bed of sunflowers that I started from seed indoors, and it is a no-dig bed. So I laid cardboard down on the ground, and then I put about 7 or 8 inches of topsoil mixed with compost, and then I just bordered it with rock and made a no-dig bed. And these sunflowers are getting ready to bloom. They are pro-cut sunflowers. And walking over here towards the porch, you can see this basket. It is a waterproof basket, and it's from the Linda Vodder collection. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she has a YouTube channel, and she also sells these baskets on QVC, and the baskets have a tray that come with it to hold water. I really love them. I have several different sizes. And in the planter in the basket, the pink in the middle is pink scaevola, and the pink in the back is pentas. All right, so we'll move over here. This is just another old wash tub here that I had. We drilled holes in the bottom, and I like to always fill it with annuals and just set it around. And the tall in the back is Truffula Pink Gomphrena. It makes a great dried flower. I love to dry them. You just, cut your stems and hang them upside down, and the Gomphrena dries the same, holds its color. So one of my favorite things to dry. The star-looking flowers in the front, and then I have purple and pink. Those are micro vinca, and I thought they were so cute. Aren't they darling? So darling. And then the purple scaevola in the front, and then the taller spiky-looking one in the back is Angelonia. And then my sister had this planter that I have the zinnias in, made for me. It's just it's a wooden planter with a horseshoe on the front. You can barely see the horseshoe, and it's really cute. And I see a nice little weed there that needs to be pulled. And those are just zinnias that I bought, like in a 6-pack or something. This is cathedral bells here. cup and saucer vine, and it's going to get a real pretty blue. Hopefully I will see some flowers, some blooms on it, but it can get up to 70 feet tall, but I'm going to keep it size controlled. So there's a container of strawberries with some strawberries coming on, and behind that is an old wooden box made out of oak boards that my son-in-law made me, and I have more zinnias coming in there. They're either the green envy zinnia or cut and come again. I'm not sure which ones. I'm notoriously bad at labeling things. And then one of my favorite things here in the garden is my sunflower bed, and I'll walk around here. These are pro-cut sunflowers, and let me get back a little bit more. And I did my pro-cuts all wrong, but I still love them. Let's zoom in on one here. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So all of the smaller flowers you see here on the pro-cuts, those are from suckers, and if I were a cut flower farmer, I would have taken all of the suckers off so that I would have one single stem, one single flower to put in my cut flower arrangements. But because I am not a cut flower farmer, I decided to leave all the little suckers and let them just produce blooms, and I think they're so cute. So anyway, but if you were like I said, a cut flower farmer, you need to take all of those little, and you already know that. If you're a cut flower farmer, you need to take those little suckers off. But I have some more coming on that I have succession planted, and some others that I just recently planted that have not popped through yet. So one of my favorite, and that's just those are little cedar rails that my husband built a little raised bed out of. And then I have a knockout rose in a container that's getting ready to bring on its second flush of blooms. And then over here in these two raised beds, these are about, I think they're 14-inch deep raised beds. I have some veggies. I have your honey nut butternut squash that I'm trying to train to grow up these trellises. And these trellises are from Lehman's, and I ordered them online. So far I'm very happy with them, and I'll try to link them, or at least put their website in the description below. But now is the time that you want to be checking the backs of the leaves of your squash plants, because the squash bug eggs are being laid. So you definitely want to check the backs of those, and you can take a plastic spoon and sort of rake them off into some soapy water. That's how I usually get rid of mine. I also spray with 100% cold pressed neem oil mixed with Castile soap per gallon of water, and that's an organic spray to help keep down the squash bugs. And then I always mix flowers in with my veggies, because veggies love flowers. The reason being is because your flowers bring on the pollinators to help pollinate your veggies. So then I have some Jack-Be little pumpkins growing there, and I can hear you. I hear you saying, oh, those pumpkins are going to take over, and you're right, they will. But hopefully I can train a lot of stuff up this trellis here. This is straight 8 cucumbers growing on this trellis, and behind that I have some mini cantaloupes growing there on the other side. Then I have another thing of strawberries. This basket is kind of in a lull. It needs a little bit of fertilizing, which I use the Espoma berry tone on for fertilizing my berries. And then this is just an old chair that doesn't have a seat in it, that I put a little container of the yellow in the front is trailing zinnia, and then the blue over here is blue lobelia. The blue on this side is blue evolvulus, blue my mind evolvulus. That's just getting ready to bloom out again. And then the flower in the back is another zinnia. And then I ran my drip tubing there because, as you can imagine, the reservoir is not very deep, and this planter gets dried out very quickly. In these 3 garden beds, these are the Veggo garden beds, or Vego, V-E-G-O garden beds. They are made out of a metal that is specifically for raised bed gardening. And so far I'm really liking them. I have sun gold tomato plant there with some, it's gotten quite wild, but it's got some baby sun gold tomatoes coming on. And I started all of these from seed indoors under grow lights. And that was right around, sometime in mid-March that I started these. And then I have, those are super bush tomato plants there, and they are a determinate tomato plant. That means they're only going to get so big and only going to produce so much. But apparently they're great producers. So, and then I have basil here that I started from seed, and some marigold, celosia, some nasturtium, and this basil here. Let's see what which one it is. I started lemon and cinnamon. Cinnamon basil. Yummy. And they do great in flower arrangements. Make great foliage for flower arrangements. And then I have Danvers half-long carrots here that we've been harvesting off of. And in this bed we have Walla Walla onions, and it was full of potatoes. We had Kennebecs and red potatoes, and I only have a few hills of potatoes left. And then I planted another Jack B. Little pumpkin there. In this bed I had radishes and peas, and now the radishes and peas have gone over, and I have bush beans, more carrots. These are straw flowers that I started from seed under grow lights. And growing up the trellis here, I had peas, but as I said, they were done. This is Lysianthus, which is an annual here for me, and makes a great flower in arrangements. And the more you deadhead them, the more they bloom for you. This is a zinnia here. More pumpkins. Oh, I really overdid it on the pumpkins, didn't I? I'm gonna have a lot of little pumpkins. That's a teddy bear sunflower. More zinnia. Here's a little bee. Wake up, bee. Wake up, fella. It's morning. Wake up. All right. Here's another lemon basil, and this is I believe it's another sun gold tomato plant. And growing here in these food safe buckets is a new girl tomato plant. We've got some tomatoes coming on now. As soon as these tomatoes start flushing, or I think it's called blushing out, not flushing, blushing out, and start turning red, I will probably wrap this with bird netting, because the birds will see the red and they'll say, okay, it's time for me to peck your tomato and eat some of it. And they're not for the birds this time, they're for me. And that is sweet potatoes growing in that bucket there. Now I want to show you something that I'm somewhat considering a garden fail for me. This is the green stalk planter here. While I do love the concept of the vertical growing, and I love the company, great company, it has not been a real success for me so far. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but you can see I have beans in there, and they're not real happy. But I just picked up some wave petunias that were on half price from a big box store to try to stick them around in there. I've taken some of the beans out that just looked terrible. But I will say that I did lettuce in late winter, early spring, and it did very well. So maybe that's just what I'm supposed to do in there, the lettuces and then the wave petunias during the summer. I don't know. But it's a great concept, and I've seen it work really well for other people. It's just, parts of it hasn't worked real well for me. And this is a knockout rose that's getting ready to bloom out again. And if you're having problems with Japanese beetles this time of year, just keep a pitcher of soapy water on hand and go around and check your rose bushes, check whatever, your zinnias, whatever, and just knock the Japanese beetles off, and very good way to control them. Here's some more strawberries, and this container here is just sort of like some sort of a drink container, drink holder or something, but I turned it into a planter, of course. And I have some things that I grew from seed in here. One of them that I'm really excited about is this globe amaranth gomphrena here. Isn't that pretty? Now the other Gomphrena that you see, the white and the darker pink, I did not grow from seed, but this one right here, let me see if I can grab it. I grew that from seed, and I will use all of these for dried flowers and just cut them off, cut off the stems, hang them upside down, and tie them together with a rubber band or something. There's a poppy, one poppy that I have left. That's a amazing gray poppy. And then some lantana, lantana is very heat tolerant, and the butterflies do enjoy it. And now kind of finishing up our tour, in these 4 raised beds, I have cosmos, and this is the Benary's giant zinnia. Isn't that a pretty color? And strawberries, more cosmos. Some of the cosmos I've grown from seed, some I purchased. These are Benary's giant zinnias. I grew all of these from seed indoors under grow lights, and you can see there's some Japanese beetle action there. Those holes there are from Japanese beetles, and I just try to catch them and catch when they're working and knock them off in the soapy water. And then this pink flamingo celosia right there, I grew that from seed under grow lights, and that also makes a great dried flower. This is an at last rose here in a container getting ready to bloom out again. In this bed here I have dahlias, and in the middle is straw flowers. The dahlias, some of them I grew from, or some of them I planted the tubers, and some of them I've planted from seed. And I started the seeds indoors. You can see they're starting to bloom under grow lights. This is cherry brandy rudbeckia and Sahara rudbeckia that I grew from seed, and that's getting ready to bloom out. In this bed here I have more dahlias and more straw flowers, and I'm really excited to grow the straw flowers because I've never grown them before. So you can see the buds sort of close up in the morning and then they open up as the day goes on. Some of these buds are ready to be harvested. And then the dahlias from seed and from tubers. In this bed I have snapdragons. The taller snapdragons here, let me see if I can walk around here. Taller snapdragons I did not grow from seed, but the shorter ones I did. I figured I'd better buy myself a pack of taller ones just in case mine didn't turn out. But mine are coming along, and they take quite a long time. I started these under grow lights in March, and so but the netting you see there I bought from the gardener's workshop, and I can raise it up and down as I need to, and you can see I have it sort of at an angle for the taller, a little bit shorter there. And then I just used some of the netting to make a trellis for some sweet peas in the back there. And my sweet peas, I had sweet peas in other places and here, and I don't know, I did something wrong with my sweet peas. I heard a gardener say, well, you have to have sweet peas, you can't mess them up, they're so easy to grow. And well, I don't know, I kind of think I messed them up. But I'll give them another try next year. So I think that's everything, and I do have the zinnias here netted as well, and that's just a plastic netting that I can reuse. And also the sunflowers, I have a double net on there, and you can see the drip tubing running through there. I think that's all I wanted to show you. I try to keep my videos short, but that doesn't always happen. Well, I really thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. Please share and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please share with your friends, and let's get this channel going. I would appreciate your help with that. All right, well, happy gardening and have a great day.